Hi guys, today we're going to talk about naming acids, and so before we do anything, let's go on the first basic point of what is an acid. So in chemistry we have three general properties, and these are acids, bases, and salts. So today we're going to talk about acids and naming acids. So let's define an acid. An acid are substances that release H plus ions in the solution. Alright? So you got that? So acids are substances that release H plus ions in the solution. So what that means is we can pretty much identify any acid if it starts with H. So any formula that starts with H is an acid. So now how do we name these? These are a little bit more tricky than the other ones that we have to name, because these we have to answer one very important question, and that question is, does it contain oxygen? Alright? So once we've done that, once we've understood that it contains oxygen, now we're ready to do some examples. Alright, let's do one example with an oxygen and one without. Let's go HCl for number 1, and for number 2 we're going to do HNO3. Alright, so let's do this. Let's do this question again. Does this contain oxygen? Start with this one. Does this formula here, does this contain oxygen? That's easy. No. And does this formula contain oxygen? Yes. There's an oxygen right there. So this one's a yes. So already we've branched off our table. So now that we've done that, we can now we can start naming them. And as we learned in the previous sections, the previous videos, when we're naming, it can either end with "ide," which is, for example, "ide" is like when we're naming ions, we use "ide," like hydrogen chloride. Like this is hydrogen chloride. So this one ends with "ide," chloride. Alright? So now that we figure that out, we can understand that this formula is hydrogen chloride. Alright? Once we've done that, we can just branch it down here. And now, this hydrogen chloride becomes hydrochloric acid. So what's happening here is we're just taking out the "ide," we're putting an "ic," and we're moving it over and putting acid. So what's really happening is we're keeping the hydrogen, taking off the "gin," leaving us with hydro. We're moving the chloride over, making it "ic," and we're adding acid to the end of the formula. Alright? Let's go with that one more time. So we start with hydrogen chloride, comes down, keep the hydrogen, take out the "gin," so we took that out, move the chloride over, made it "ic," and added acid. A little bit complicated, but with a little bit of review, you get it. So now let's do this one with oxygen. First thing we have to do with this one is we have to figure out if it ends with "ate" or "ite." "Ate," "ite." For this one, this HNO3, which is hydrogen nitrate, so it's this one, we have to branch it off into this we have to take out the hydrogen, so this becomes hydrogen nitrate. This is the original one. And this becomes nitric acid. So what's happening here is we're taking out the oxygen, we're replacing it with acid and moving it over, and we're taking the nitrate, we're moving it across, making it nitric. Alright, so let's go over it again. Hydrogen nitrate, the nitrate comes over and becomes nitric, hydrogen moves over and becomes acid, so we're left with nitric acid. Alright, now let's do another scenario. So what if it ends with "ite"? Right? Because there's two possibilities for everything. So if it ends with "ite", we have to do a little bit differently. So let's take hydrogen sulfite. Alright, this one ends with "ite". So what we're going to do here is we're just going to make it, sulfite. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to do the same thing as this one. Up here, we're just going to move it over, except we're going to move this over and move that over. So what's going to happen, and instead of using "ick", we're going to use "us". So what happens here is sulfurous acid. Alright, see what happened here? This hydrogen moved over and became acid. This sulfite moved over and became sulfurous. Sulfurous acid. Alright, so that's pretty much the gist of what's happening here. I'm just going to put up a little flow chart that you can find in the Science Probe textbook, page 207. Science Probe 10, actually. Well, it's not going to fit, but it's right here. That's the chart, and it's very easy to find. It's on the Science 10 Probe textbook, and it's very useful. So thank you, and that was how we name acids.